I put my body through 5 major endurance events: truck pulls, world records, 50K ultras, rope climbs that put me in the hospital for 5 days with kidney failure. Today I'm ranking them from easiest to hardest and breaking down exactly what made each one absolutely brutal. Stick around because the number one ended pretty badly for me. My name is Parker Fontecchio, and I've spent the last 6 years of my life doing a bunch of endurance challenges to all bring awareness to veteran suicide and men's suicide awareness. The catalyst that started the entire thing was Spartan Hawaii Ultra. Easiest one of the whole bunch. It is something that got me into the endurance world. It is not something that I did for charity. It is just something that said, that looks fun, a 50K mud run with a bunch of obstacles to break up the running, because at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of running, but it was the longest run I've ever done. And before it, the longest run I had ever done was 13 miles. I had just moved to Arizona. I was deep into CrossFit training, barely running at all, maybe doing maximum 2 to 4 miles. And I showed up to do this 50K race completely unprepared mileage wise. Around that 18-mile mark, everything just shut down. The knees, the ankles, the hips, everything made it from a run and a jog to an absolute crawl. And that's what made this one hard. But it also made it the love of the sport. It was the catalyst that started saying, I really like going out there for hours on end. But out of all 5, this was definitely the easiest terms in just demand. It's where it all started. Number 4. The 72-mile farmer carry around Lake Tahoe. I carried 22-pound dumbbells in each hand for veteran suicide prevention in collaboration with FitOps Foundation. I split this 72 hours up, and so I said that I'm going to go for the 72 miles in 72 hours instead of just going straight through. So we did this in blocks of like 10 to 16 hours, taking breaks in between, having lunch at different spots around the lake. It was honestly amazing. But the killer here was we did it in January in Lake Tahoe. Horrible idea, but I wanted to get it done. And I was like, during COVID, and I was just like, let's do it right now. Train for it for about 2 months. But the killer here was every morning when we woke up, or every time I would rest for a while, my hands would just kind of curl back up into that ball, into that grip. And we would have to pry the fingers open to get me going. But this was also my first multi-day event. So there was definitely a learning curve on recovery sessions, because we would just stop, hop in this trailer, and just sleep, like talk and sleep. Out of all the endurance challenges I've done by myself, that one is definitely the easiest one out of it. Up next was 24 hours of tire flips. I remember for this one, I was like, I want to flip a tire for a marathon. And then I broke down how that actually works, and it's not realistic. So 24 hours of flipping a 200-pound tire, going for the world record. I think the world record at the time was about 6 miles. We absolutely destroyed that. We hit the record in about 16 hours, and we ended up going for just a little bit over 7 miles on it. It was a grand total of, I want to say, like 8,000 tire flips over the day. And so it was like one every 8 seconds for it. This is also where I made my first big mistake. Once I broke the record, I took an hour-long break. And what I didn't know then is my body went into shock. Rhabdo started setting in. We weren't like hydrating, using this break, being proactive. I literally just like laid on the ground. And when I tried to get back up, I couldn't. Everything cramped. I was done. My nutrition back then was nowhere near where it is now. The hydration wasn't. My lower back and knuckles were destroyed from the repetitive bending over. But looking back now, I definitely know if I went back for that one, we could absolutely smash that and go way far. Now, the one that everybody thinks was the hardest on the list is the world's heaviest ultra marathon. So 31 miles, pulling my Toyota Tacoma. Everyone assumes this is number 1 on the list, and physically demanding it might be, but 19 hours and 13 minutes pulling that 4,000-pound truck. The toll on my central nervous system was unlike anything else. On all my other events leading up to this one, I've been used to being able to do like a rope climb, do a tire flip, and get rest. On this one, it was non-stop being strapped to that truck for the entire time. Honestly, the hardest part wasn't even the pull itself. It was the 8 months leading up to it. The 10 to 15 mile weeks pulling the sled in the Arizona heat all summer long. And then, of course, the logistics fell apart at the last second. The venue canceled on us last minute. We ended up doing it on a course that had the partial incline. There's a whole documentary about it. Go watch it. It is an absolute crazy thing. And so it's definitely number 2 on the list. Number 1 on the list is something that I would never do again. 2,296 rope climbs in 25 hours and 40 minutes. The math on that is 1 rope climb every 40 seconds for 25 hours straight. Absolutely miserable. And to make things worse, by the 8-hour mark, I slipped off the rope, tried to catch back on, had a partial tear in my bicep. My hands were bloodied, blistered, swollen up like balloons. We couldn't get the gloves off at certain points. And Every single climb after that meant that I'm grabbing on with buddy's hands, and it was so miserable. I can't like put it into words. We also made serious nutrition mistakes. Not enough hydration for the amount of acetaminophen we were putting into my body. Way too much caffeine, and we were popping Tylenol and ibuprofen as much as we can to try to get the hands and the feet and the bicep to start hurting, which in turn was the combination that started shutting my kidneys down. Not enough electrolytes and water to support the whole thing, and that resulted being in the hospital for 5 days with severe rhabdomyolysis and kidney and liver failure. Without a doubt, that's just the hardest one on a bed. It put me in the hospital bed. It put me there for a long time. I struggled to walk after the event, even after getting out of the hospital for weeks. I could not pull on anything for months on end without severe tendonitis in both elbows. It absolutely destroyed me. So when it comes down to what's the hardest endurance event I've done, that's definitely it. So that's the ranking from the Spartan Race Ultra all the way to the rope climb that was absolutely brutal. That's it. And there's one event on here that's coming up. You guys will see it soon. If I had to place that, it would be number 2 right now. But look out month of July for that dropping. I can't tell you much about it, but you'll be stoked to see it. So let me know in the comments which one you think you could survive and which one scares you the most. See you in the next one. Have a great day. Please subscribe. Check out my other videos. And if you want a good documentary to watch, go watch The World's Heaviest Ultra.